Zane Clodfelter with Otters TV here with Sam Jellinek. We are wrapping up the regular season. The Otters begin the push for a Frontier League championship on Tuesday night against the Washington Wild Things at 6:35 at Bosse Field. But first, we did have to catch up with Sam Jellinek because he's going on assignment elsewhere for the rest of the year, never to come back, going to North Carolina. So, Sam, you were with the Evansville Otters over the final 6 games when they went to Gateway, swept, and then took 2 of 3 out of normal. So, what was the difference in Evansville being able to clinch a playoff spot?
It was a really strange thing in that as the week went on, when it started in Gateway, it was a clean 3-1 victory. There was never any sense of panic from anybody. You could hardly tell that this team, if they lose 2 games, they might be out of the wild card spot. As it turned out, as the week unfolded, they obviously went 5-1. They would have had to at least go 4-2 to claim a wild card spot. So it's pretty impressive that they were able to do that, and they did it by winning the first 5 of that week. Honestly, if there's just anything different about the team, it's nothing in terms of they were doing something different. Just everything clicked at once. We talked all season long. I know I talked with Preston about this. We were waiting for that hot streak. Finally happened.
I know. What took so long, though? Because it got to the point where you kind of felt like you were beating your head up against a wall because you kept saying, okay, this team has enough talent that they can go on a run, but we weren't seeing it. Why did it take 90 games before we actually saw it happen?
I've always kind of believed in the idea of you add a little bit of pressure, sometimes a diamond is formed, or a lump of coal. This time for the Otters, it's a diamond. All season long, they'd win 2 out of 3 games. They maybe sweep a series, but then they get swept the next series. And they're just like, man, why can't they just put it together for one good week? That was their best week of the season right there. They go 5-1 when they absolutely had to, with their backs up against the wall. They didn't play like they had their backs up against the wall. When they went to normal in that first game of the series, normal, they were on the brink of elimination. A loss and they're out, and Evansville stuck it to them in the first inning. They scored 5 runs. All of a sudden, the Otters set it up to win on Saturday to clinch their 3rd straight trip to the postseason. And just, the guys figured, we only got one more shot to do this here in the Frontier League in our final week of the season. It's now or never.
Do you think part of it kind of helped the fact that they were on the road, so all the distractions that you tend to find at Bosse Field, not that the distractions are a negative thing, but there are some distractions, even for us working at the ballpark over the course of a day. Do you think that maybe helped where they could clear their minds and just focus on playing baseball as opposed to all the other stuff?
Yeah, there's a little bit of pressure, obviously, playing at Bosse Field. Fans have come to expect a certain level of excellence from the teams here in Evansville, and rightly so. They've made the postseason 2 out of the 3 years prior to this past year. They've won 2 championships, now going for 2 out of 3 years as well. So playing at home, had they kind of fallen behind in a game or 2, they might have started to feel the pressure mounting. But starting the week off in Gateway was really nice, and that you might think, oh, maybe it's a trap game going up against a Grizzlies team that's so far out of it already. But instead, Evansville just said, we got to take care of business. Gateway, we know, isn't a good team. We're better than them. Let's go prove it.
Yeah. And
they just kind of kept it that simple instead of thinking, okay, we got to win this game, then these guys got to lose. Let's just win, come back tomorrow, win again, and then let's do it the next day.
Yeah, and it also helped that Southern Illinois took a slide there at the end. I feel like after they got swept by Evansville, that kind of, took the air out of Jason's sails. That's for certain, right? And it probably took the air out of everybody else's sails over there. And it also helped, too, over the weekend that you had Florence, who was chasing a playoff spot, having to face River City, who ended up winning the division. I would point out, though, I kind of wanted Evansville to win last night because, yeah, the Frontier League would have designated them as the wild card, but they still would have technically had a share of the division, which Evansville has not had since the early 2000s. So falling a game short of that, a little disappointing, but still the postseason, that's what Evansville wanted to coming in. And for a couple of months, it didn't appear like that was going to be a reality, but yet here we are.
I mean, I honestly think probably the biggest win of the Otter season came at the end of the normal series. In the second game of that doubleheader back at Bosse Field, Normal had taken the first 2 games, and then in that final game, Taylor Lane comes through with an RBI single to win it in the bottom of the 6th inning. And you think at the time, okay, I think at the end of that series, Evansville was 3.5 or 4.5 games back in Normal. The Clodfelters had as large as a 3-game lead on everybody else in the division with 14 games left to play, and you think, okay, things are probably settled right now. They're playing good baseball, we're really not. But that just kind of kicked everything off for Evansville. You think back to the next week that followed, where Evansville went into Florence, took it 2 out of 3, swept the Miners, and then dropped 2 out of 3 to River City. But we saw them play a brand of baseball that was winning. You know, take away that 8-run ninth inning. Evansville had a shot on the final day of the season to surpass River City with a win. Of course, that didn't happen. It kind of doesn't matter now that they're in the postseason. But what happened here over the past 2.5 weeks is nothing short of astounding. Not only did the Otters win the games that they had to, it's not like normal collapsed a little bit, but for the most part, everybody else played good baseball down the stretch. But Evansville got everybody who kind of needed to lose at the right time, they got that.
I know, and most of the time when you need a lot of help, which Evansville did, I mean, they really did. You normally get a couple teams to help, and then the other team rights the ship, and you miss out. But I guess the fact that the Frontier League was just so convoluted in terms of the wild card. If you're going to have a year, I'm not going to call it mediocre, or because they still finished with 51 wins, but it wasn't an Evansville Otters season that we had the last couple of years. But you stay close enough, and then as we saw, a 5-game winning streak, very, very impressive. I think the biggest win for me was the finale against Southern Illinois, where the Miners were trying not to get swept. If they would have won that game, I think they would have been just a half game back. Evansville was down early, battled back to take the lead. Southern Illinois answered, and then Evansville did have an answer there in the bottom of the 8th, and that basically kind of showed, hey, you're going to have to go through us to try to get to the postseason. I think that really set the tone that the rest of the league saw for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, and I even think after that game, for me in the final week, that kind of set the tone after Evansville wins the first game of the week, 3-1 over Gateway, a very straightforward victory. Then in the finale of the series, it ends up, I believe the final score was like 6-5 or 7-5, something like that. But it went back and forth in the middle couple innings with Evansville actually trailing heading into the top of the 8th inning. And it just felt like one of those games, had it been about 2 months ago, and I asked some of the players this afterwards, like 2.5 months ago, they lose that game.
Yeah,
They had come back to take the lead, then given it up to Gateway, who then led 6-5 at the time, and then Otters score a few more in the late going to take the lead in the 8th, tack on another in the 9th, and it actually, now that I remember, it was a 6-4 victory for Evansville. And, they said, 2.5 months ago, we don't know how to win that game. We ended up slipping away in that one. But now, right here, we had to win. We finally got it done, and that's what clicked.
Yeah. Where's your credential?
It's in the car.
He's taking it to North Carolina with him just in case. So real quick, this is your last appearance on Otters TV. What's next for you? You're leaving here to go to the East Coast, leaving God's country. So what is next for Sam?
Yeah, so I'll be joining the University of North Carolina at Pembroke to join their broadcasting and video production team. I'll actually be on the call for their home football opener this upcoming Saturday. So I'll cover football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, and every sport in between, as well as soccer, men's, women's, everything, to help cover that for the athletic department, as well as working on, since they essentially have something kind of like Otters TV in terms of broadcasting games, I'll have to kind of direct some of those games as well in addition to broadcasting them.
So maybe you can take some of the stuff that you appreciated about Otters TV and add that into UNC Pembroke, right?
What happens in the press box stays in the press box.
See, that's the crucial role. See, you're the best intern I never hired. Right?
One out of one ain't bad.
No. Preston, you have something to add?
Yeah, for Sam here, after this long summer with the Evansville Otters, what are you taking away with you from your experience? Moments, memories, anything like that?
If I need to save money on a good diamond ring, I'm going to Crook Minor and Con. If I need pizza, I'm going to Taroni's, following that Pizza Brick Road.
Oh man, because that ad plays how many times during your broadcast? Yeah, I did the game on radio Wednesday, and that ad played about every inning. I was a little blown away by the repetitiveness of that. Is there anything else?
But mostly just, coming to the ballpark every day. I previously worked in summer college ball where the seasons are significantly shorter, about 50 to 70 games at most. Doing 96 games, it really tests your mettle to see if you want to do this. Doing it with an organization like Evansville and coming to the ballpark, coming to Bosse Field every day, kind of solidifies that for me. So
we didn't have to pay him to say that either, so that's pretty impressive. Well, Sam, I enjoyed working with you this summer. I know you will be listening to Preston Leinenbach, who will take over radio play-by-play duties for the entire duration of the postseason. Home games, of course, will have your trusted partner in Bill McCune, so Preston will try not to mess with that chemistry there a little bit, but really do appreciate it, and glad you were able to spend your summer of 2018 here with us in God's country.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here and sad to go.
See, he's sad. He wants to stay. So he's Sam Jellinek. I'm Zane Clodfelter. This has been Otters TV.
Get me the ring.